Alright, today is Friday, May 21st, 2021. We are doing a comparison of the cat cage versus the cat clamp. My design versus the competitor's product here. First off, let's take a look at the cat cage. We have our proprietary flange design with an interlocking tongue, using all stainless steel tamper-proof hardware. We are using a 3/8 inch wire rope with the ends welded and a ferrule mechanically attached. Let's quickly go over some of the assembly features. These wire ropes, once again, 3/8 inch stainless steel versus the competitor's 5/16 galvanized. This is probably going to be at least twice as hard to cut through based on the material and the diameter in comparison to the competitor's product. They have these ferrules that have been slipped over a welded end that are mechanically connected, preventing the wire rope from slipping back through the flange. We have two different lengths of wire rope. All of the ends have been welded to provide a safe, soft surface that you can use for bare hands to prevent pricking your fingers and whatnot during the install. Again, we have two lengths of wire rope, which will form the basis of our proprietary fastening system and how that works. We've also got included a bag of hardware for fastening, some zip ties, the extra nuts and bolts for securing the flange. We'll get into more of what's in this bag during the install. Here is the cat clamp included package. What we have here is a small directional chart showing their drawing of how the flanges are assembled. We have a small packet. We get some stickers. We have some collets. And we have the cat clamp proprietary flange. Stainless steel construction, tamper-proof bolts, no nuts. Interesting. Patent right on it. I've also got approximately 40 feet of 5/16 galvanized steel wire rope. For our design, we're using a 6-plate design. We have 4 plates of our Model A and 2 plates in our Model B. The layout is as follows. This is just a little bit of our development process. This is our very first early drawing. Our templates that we used to confirm our math, rough cardboard cutout, and we arrived at this drawing, which was submitted to the Standard Steel Company for laser cut. We were put on hold for a couple of weeks while the cutters had made an error with the location of this hole. And we have since discovered that in order to make assembly and installation easy, we should also be shaving these corners with a 1-inch radius to allow the part to swing open and close in the clamshell manner. We have also considered revisiting the count for holes. We've considered maybe making it 8, going back to our original count. With our original design, we were much more focused on maximizing protection. We weren't at all concerned with quality and ended up with a really crude design. It's heavy-duty hardware and 1/2-inch wire rope. It really stood out as a visual deterrent, but was not tamper-proof for any would-be thieves looking under the vehicle. The installation process proved to be very difficult. The cat cage is connected in 7 different points. Each one of these blue things indicates a connection point to the exhaust. The cat cage is made up of a series of smaller sub-assemblies.
Each two subassemblies protect two catalytic converters underneath the body of a typical dual-header V8 gas engine. The wire ropes are retained by the ferrules attached to the end of the wire ropes. This prevents the wire rope from slipping through the flange assembly and forms the basis of our cage. With the cat cage design, the wire ropes help to retain the strength of the clamshell style flange and reinforce the proper alignment. A total of 4 subassemblies make up the tubular cage, with a slip-style piece of proprietary hardware that mate the two halves of the cage in the center of the exhaust system. A clam flange is placed above and below each of the 4 catalytic converters on this style of car, forming one long barrier from passenger side header to driver side header.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of connection in comparison to the competitor who uses just a 2-point connection. The primary method that Cat Clamp uses for securing the wire rope is with these internalized collets on their clamp. You fit in a collet that matches the diameter of your exhaust, and you route the wire rope through these holes. And as the wire rope has been routed through each hole, you tighten down on these nuts here on the outsides of the clamp, and that squeezes this internal collet to press up against the wire ropes, leaving you with a statically loaded method of securing the wire rope. With 2 very long zip ties, I assume this is to dampen the rattling that I have read all about in the reviews of these products. So, in the beginning, with our very first prototype, a very simple design. Just had 8 holes, welded these ears on, just rough cut this out of steel. And the way that it worked was, it was bolted on with the ears to the exhaust. The cables were routed through, and they offered a barrier protection. We then changed our design to this ear style where we have our parts overlapping just slightly to create an alignment where our parts fit together. It also only comes with 2 clamps. You've got an upstream and a downstream clamp for your cat, and that is also a major design difference, whereas we are using a 7-clamp system, and we are primarily targeting dual manifold V8 engines, gasoline engines, for this particular model. This design has certain advantages over the Cat Cage design. Cat Cage is primarily for the dual exhaust with 4 catalytic converters, whereas this is a little bit better for, say, my Prius, which is a 4-cylinder with an inline catalytic converter. Found out that the exhaust size changes quite frequently, all within the series of a couple of feet coming off the header and into the muffler. So this design for specific applications may prove to be quite a bit more convenient than having various different sizes cut out in order to securely fit around the fluctuating size of the exhaust. So again, let's take a look at this product here. This is with the collets removed. We have a welded assembly body, tamper-proof bolts. One thing that I am not in love with about this design is that there's only 2 clamps that are fastened each by 2 bolts. And I have I've yet to see what it's like when it's installed, but I'm wondering what the difficulty level of just either cutting this ear off is that secures the bolt to the assembly, or cutting the bolt itself. Because once the clamp is no longer secured around the pipe, it allows for the cat to be cut and removed.
It's important to remember that anyone crawling underneath the car to steal a catalytic converter is going to be equipped with a battery-powered Sawzall.
With the cat cage, we have 4 bolts in which there is no easy access point for the clamp. As it's tightened, there is no easy access point to cut that hardware. And then you're also cutting through 3/8 inch thick steel in comparison to maybe a 20 gauge stainless. And again, you've only got to cut one of these ears off. So that's interesting. Once again, with our flange assembly design, we've already gone through 2 versions to arrive at our swinging clamshell type. I think that we may do one more iteration before we go into major production, where these corners on the outside are rounded with a 1-inch radius, and an additional hole is added to route wire rope through to give us 8 locations for wire rope. Here we have a fiberglass heat shield. The clamp is placed over the top of that in the clamshell manner, and the tamper-proof hardware is slipped through, securing the flange to the exhaust. In some locations, it may be more difficult, and zip ties are required in order to secure the heat shield before slipping over the clamshell. The final install looks something like this. Here's a close-up shot showing our tamper-proof hardware as well as our wire rope routing. The final result is a secure catalytic converter. So, I would like to know if this is what's being patented and my proprietary clamp design is not infringing, or if the entirety of the product offering a barrier for theft protection against any theft is what's patented.